Hello, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, which you probably are, my name is Kristen. I'm 32 and I am 25 weeks pregnant with my second daughter. So this is my 25-week pregnancy update, and we're also going to do a bump date. So I actually rolled over to 25 weeks on Monday. Today is Wednesday. And I waited to do it today because yesterday was my ultrasound and doctor's appointment. So if you've been following along, you know this, and if you haven't, a video or two back, whatever, I was talking about my kind of what's been going on. So my placenta was low and they were concerned about it, so they wanted me to come back for an ultrasound, and that's what yesterday was. So it was a reevaluation of kind of my situation and what we would be looking at. I was placed on pelvic rest and just like extra caution kind of a thing, whatever. And so I was scheduled then for an ultrasound 4 weeks later. So that was it. So I have updates on everything and I'm very excited to share them with you. Rolling over to a new week is always exciting. At least it is for me. And then I had said previously, I'm following Trisha Paytas, and it's like her due date to like her where she's at in her pregnancy has jumped around a little bit within like a week or two. And that can totally happen. I'm not saying that can totally happen. Mine has not this time. But right now we're neck and neck. Like we're to the day on our pregnancies. We are to the day. And she always says that it's exciting for her when she rolls over to it. Maybe it's just like an old lady pregnancy thing, because I know she's 34 and I'm 32. And so like maybe that's what it is. But it is very exciting, and so I'm always excited to do these updates. I am documenting this mostly for me. I did notice I have 16 subscribers now. Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. I know it's a low number in the YouTube world, but like to me it's really cool because I'm not a very interesting person. I just get on here to like document what's going on with me, and it's mostly for me. But if you're here and you like it and you want to subscribe, I love it. I love sharing things. So I'm happy to have you here. Those of you that are here and have joined, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being here. So let's get into it. So I always try to start with like my symptoms because again, I am documenting this for myself. My symptoms this week, and I noticed I went back last night and I noticed I didn't do a 24-week update. So like, I don't know what all I've said because some things are kind of like, it's not like, I don't think I got any new symptoms this week. So heartburn is like real. This kid is better come out like Chewbacca or something. Like, oh my, I mean, I hope not. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, they always say a lot of heartburn means a lot of hair. And I think that's an old wives' tale. But then there is me, but I was just born with peach fuzz. But man, the heartburn is, sometimes it just really kicks my butt. Heartburn is really real. And broken veins, I still, you know, they're obviously still here. I don't know. I don't know if I've gotten any new ones. It just seems like there's so much compared to what I normally have. I'm hoping some of these like heal and dissipate a little bit because I read that sometimes they can. That seems odd to me that they can just go away. But I read that they can, but probably not all of them will. I do think some of that is attributed by like my circulation. By this time in my pregnancy with my daughter, I was making a pretty conscious effort to walk. And I'm not saying I don't walk at all now, but I haven't been doing as much. I've been really, really busy lately. So taking the time out to just go walk is not, you know, it's not really worked out. I have been, you know, active in doing things. So it's not that I've not been that, but I haven't taken the time to walk. I think I need to walk, take some time to do some more yoga, prenatal yoga, you know, just work on my circulation. I really need to work on my lower body, building the muscles, you know, stuff like that. I just think that could help. It was probably last week. I don't know if I've talked about this in a video, but I was having this situation where, in the night when I would go to readjust myself, my belly would hurt kind of like right along in here. And then I had this one night where I wasn't readjusting myself. I was laying there, and the pain there was so significant that it woke me up. I'm not saying it was excruciating. It wasn't alarming enough to like go to the ER or anything. It did feel muscular, and my fear was, and I don't know if I say this right, diastes recti. I know what it is, but I'm not good with words. So, but it's basically where your ab muscles split apart. And so that was my concern because it was pretty significant. It lasted for a while. I was back to wearing my belly band after that for a little while, and then I did implement my pregnancy pillow. So I am now utilizing pregnancy pillow. I do try to pretty much lay on my left side. I do sometimes kind of switch over to my right, but not for like long periods of time. I just give my left side breaks because I kind of have to. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm doing the best I can with that. Anyway, I've not had any more pain in the belly area at all like that. Whenever I had my ultrasound yesterday, I addressed that with the ultrasound tech. She mentioned it could have been Braxton Hicks. She said a lot of women think that that's just something that happens late in pregnancy, preparing your body for labor, when in fact you a lot of times have Braxton Hicks your entire pregnancy. It's just that you can't feel them. And she said maybe you felt them. My doctor, however, was more inclined to believe that it was because I had 2 appointments yesterday, ultrasound and doctor's appointment. My doctor was more inclined to believe that it was more like the diastes recti, and he just said that all women really get that. It's just a matter of like to the severity of whatever, and most of the time it heals on its own. Sometimes it doesn't. You can do core exercises, whatever, after you deliver the baby. So I'm just really kind of gonna start doing some research on like what that looks like and what maybe I could do to alleviate some of that. Other than that, and like I said, I haven't had any more like issues there. I have implemented the pregnancy pillow, and I just implement like the belly band whenever I feel like I have a lot of pressure in my lower back, or if I'm going to be doing anything. Like we've been doing some work around the house to get ready for the baby, been doing some work at my grandma's house to get ready for like the sale of a house. So, you know, whenever I go to do stuff like that, I always make sure to wear my belly band, just like stuff like that. So that's kind of what's going on in those terms. My belly is definitely getting bigger. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any other new symptoms. I think that's pretty much it. Like heartburn is a killer, and the broken veins are, you know, I have gotten like some moderate, minor, whatever swelling. I am monitoring that. I am watching it because I did have preeclampsia before. We don't want that. We don't want that. Since I am getting closer to my 3rd trimester, I do think I am going to start monitoring my blood pressure more closely. And I say that, and every time I go to the doctor, my blood pressure is great. But it was the same with my daughter. Every time I went to the doctor, my blood pressure was awesome. Every time my blood pressure was taken, it was great. And then I had all the other symptoms of preeclampsia, but not the blood pressure thing until labor. So, but I am going to start monitoring more closely at home, I think, especially now getting like into the 3rd trimester. And now that I am experiencing a little bit of swelling. The heat obviously doesn't help the swelling, and with my daughter, I was sitting in a kiddie pool every day. We do not have a kiddie pool set up right now. I'm hoping to fix that. And I got these new leggings. I'll talk about these more like later. I'm going to do a what's in my hospital bag video. And these will be in there because I got leggings from Old Navy for $5 a piece. Like, holy good deal. But they're pretty tight. They're pretty tight, and I almost think they cut off circulation some more because I noticed I wore these yesterday, and yeah, the circulation felt a little bit cut off. It was hot, plus these were like tight and don't breathe very well, and my feet swole up, but my hands did too. But I am a person who is prone to swelling, so that's like another thing that I have going on. In terms of feeling the baby kick and, you know, feeling the baby move around and stuff, it's weird because through this pregnancy, that has kind of come and gone. And so I was feeling it more regularly. There was like certain times a day that she would move and kick and stuff like that. And then the rest of the time she was just quiet. And then I had a couple days where the movements were like different and not as predictable, I guess I should say. And then I thought that was weird, and she seemed like more quiet. And then the last couple days she's been, or probably the last 3 or 4 days, she's been moving around a lot more. I can just feel more activity. The movements are a lot different than they were with my daughter. My daughter was just donkey kicking me like crazy, just kicking me, punching me, just all that stuff constantly. This one seems to do more like rolling around and little flips, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but it's just like these little, it's not kicks. It's not anything crazy. Like my mom keeps thinking, oh, I want to feel your belly. And that's fine. I don't care. But like she puts her hand on my belly and then she talks to my belly for like not even 30 seconds. And then she's like, she doesn't like me. And I'm like, that's just not this kid. I don't know. Like you would have to sit here for a while and then not expect to feel a kick. Expect to feel something else. Just because that's just the way she seems to be. So there's that on like the movement. But yeah, I've been feeling a lot more movement the last few days again, which is pretty cool. It's just different. It's just not, and I'm actually kind of relieved that I can feel her, and that is such a good feeling. And then it's reassuring as a mom who's carrying a baby. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, there's movement there, there's life, we're good. But then also it's a relief, especially my daughter is very, very active. Very, very active. And like I said, she was constantly kicking a rib out. And I mean, it was just like, got very difficult. And I didn't even take her full term. I didn't carry her full term or anything. So it's kind of nice and more enjoyable to just be like, okay, this one is just living life with me. We're chilling. She's making sure that I know she's there, but she's not trying to tear me apart from the inside out, which is really kind of, I mean, I appreciate that because sometimes with my daughter, I was like, okay, are you rejecting me? Like, what is this? It was rough. It was really rough sometimes. But anyway, so that's kind of the update on that. Now about my doctor's appointments. We went first for the ultrasound. My mom went with me yesterday. It was the first time she's ever been with me to like an ultrasound or anything. So I think it was a cool opportunity for her. I believe the last time she saw an ultrasound was 1989. So that was kind of a cool opportunity for both of us and for her to like be there and see it and everything. She's a lot more reactive than my husband is. She's like, oh, look, and that's kind of cool because I have those feelings, but it's neat when someone is like, I'm not saying my husband doesn't share in that with me. He's just going to sit there and then we'll talk about it later. And it's like, yeah, it was cool, But he loves his babies. It's not that. It's just, it's so funny because he's not a super reactive person. So they did a standard ultrasound and then they did transvaginal. Again, they took more measurements of the baby than I expected them to with this time, but I mean, that's okay. But again, we were checking on my placenta because it was down by my cervix, and that's like kind of could be a scary thing. At first it was a little scary last time, and then they're like, okay, it's not blocking it, it's just a little low. So she went over and like immediately that was one of the first things she was like, oh, because she knew why I was there, obviously. That's how that works, right? And she was pretty much like, hey, that moved up. It's up here. So it's in the fundal position. It's like way the heck up here. My placenta went from being way super low to like way up, which is, that's great. The answer to prayer, like I've been trying not to stress out about it or anything, but it is a concern every time I would think about it. It's like, what if I go to this next appointment and they say it hasn't moved or it's moved further down or like what? I don't know. Anyway, she said it moved up and I was like, thank goodness. And she took measurements of the baby. So right now she was weighing in, and ultrasound weights are off. Like they tell them to you with such confidence that you're like, so with my daughter, I was like freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so big for like how far along I was. Does that make sense? Like she was a little baby when she was born, but our last ultrasound that we had, she was measuring on there like in the high 6s, and again a month early. And I'm a very petite frame, so my doctor was concerned about that. But the high or upper 6s, where when she was born she was only 5'14", so it was like a pound off. And with a baby, that's it's kind of a lot. So anyway, they can be off, but yesterday in the ultrasound she measured a little over 2 pounds, And whenever yesterday I was 25 and 1, the baby was supposedly measuring 25 and 6. They did not move my due date. She's kind of been measuring a few days ahead the whole time, because even at my very first appointment, she was measuring 4 days ahead. But that's a loose term. Like anything with your due date, anything like that is a loose term. We are expecting this baby to come a little early. I mean, I don't know how early, but my doctor is concerned about that. But that is comforting to me that she's measuring ahead. Does that make sense? Because let's say my due date is September 19th of what it is, and then she's measuring 6 days ahead of that. I don't know. It just makes me feel better, because my daughter was measuring ahead also. She was premature, but we did not have near the complications that we could have. So I felt very blessed with that. So I like that padding of her measuring ahead. It makes me feel good. Her heart rate was 164, which I was really excited about, because the last ultrasound I had, it was 129. I thought that was really odd, because all the way up to this point, her heart rates have been in the 150s, 160s range. And with my daughter, it was always in the 150s, 160s range the whole pregnancy. And so I thought it was really weird when it dropped down to 129 last time. But maybe there was a lot of weird stuff going on. My placenta was low. I was having contractions. Like maybe just that whole ultrasound was just kind of odd. But this one was really good. And like I said, it was back up to 164. So that made me pretty happy. Everything looked really good on her. Measurements were good. And she was playing with her little toes. So that's what I was going to talk about with like the movements. So it's so cool, because when you're getting an ultrasound, you're feeling the feelings of the movements. Like babies, I don't think they really like ultrasounds that much. I think they can feel that. And so, or like, I don't know, because the longer that wand is on me, the more she seems to get just like irritated, and she just moves around more. So, they're doing the wand and you're looking at this screen and you could see that, but then as the movements are happening, you can also feel those things. And what's cool is you can kind of tie that to what you feel on like the average everyday, whatever. So whenever she's laying there and she was trying to get her, like she had one foot up and she was playing with it, and she was trying to get the other one up to play with it. And again, I wanted to say, like, this was intended to be a vlogging channel. They don't allow me to take videos in there. Whenever we were when we were in the hospital that is in our town with my daughter, they allowed us to take videos and stuff. But we're in a different provider, a different affiliate, whatever you want to say, this time in another town. It's a different hospital, and they do not allow video. So I can't. But anyway, so she was trying to throw her foot up and catch it. And then, you just feel all those little bitty like movements and things. And then she'd like lose her foot and it would drop down, and these things would happen. And then I was watching as she was like putting her feet down and then adjusting herself and everything. And I said, I think she does that a lot, because that feeling that I felt in there when she was playing with her toes and stuff, I feel that quite a bit. And I said, this is what I mean. Like, she doesn't kick. She kicks, but it's not like that's what she does, and she kicks all the time. I feel a lot more just like movements and her playing with things and just whatever in there. And then kicking occasionally, I think when she's maybe trying to like adjust herself, she's having a hard time or something, I don't know. But then I'll feel a more elaborate move, like a kick or something. Or if I'm sitting in a position, I guess that makes her uncomfortable, then I'll get like a little kick. But otherwise, that's about it. So that's such a cool thing to be able to sit there and look on the screen, and my mom was really enjoying it, because she's like, oh, this is really cool, She doesn't take stuff like that for granted, which is really neat. Because I think sometimes it's easy to do. You're like, okay, they got to check on my placenta. We got to go have this ultrasound. I'm excited for it, but I just really want that news, where I may have been laying there like thinking about all of that and enjoying seeing my baby, but not as much, you know what I mean? Maybe not as much as I should have been. So that was fun. And then they did the transvaginal, just to like double check on the cervix and make sure that nothing was blocking it and everything was good. Everything was good. We probably could have done without the transvaginal, but I like that they go the extra mile there just to make sure that they're not dealing with what they thought they could have been, so that was like No, that's nice and that's comforting. It makes me feel good that they're going the extra mile for my care. So that's fun. We left there and we went to lunch. We had my grandma with us. She waited in the car in the ultrasound and we went to lunch, and then I had my doctor's appointment at 1:30. So we came back to the doctor's office and had my meeting with him. I am up more in my weight. I mean, and that's what my mom always says in my face, that's coming back because it was like gone. But you know, I think I'm at a good place weight wise. Like it's okay. I probably could be a little lower and be better off, but I don't think it's terrible. I don't think I'm terrible. And then he did the fetal, like he checked the heart rate, even though the ultrasound they had just checked it. He just did it so we could hear the heartbeat. And then let's see. I talked to him about the soreness in here, and we talked about that. But he had evaluated the ultrasound. He said everything looks great. You're on a good track. He put in the order for my glucose test. I am nervous about that. So my glucose test is in, I think it's in 2 weeks. Sorry, excuse my armpit. Glucose test is in roughly 3 weeks, I guess. So because today's the 8th, and I'll probably go on like maybe the 28th of June. So in 20 days. And go have my glucose test done. And then I had to reschedule my other appointment. I don't know. That was kind of a disaster. But anyway, on the 1st, then I will go back into my doctor's office and have a visit. I'm still on monthly visits, but just to save me some gas, he said, instead of having you come like the full 4 weeks, because you'll be coming back to back that way, he said, you can come then. And then after that, you're going to go to bi-weekly appointments. So essentially right now I'm looking at the glucose test probably about June 28th. And then I'm going to go have my next doctor's appointment and get my RhoGAM shot. If you don't know what a RhoGAM shot is, if you're Rh negative and you're pregnant, you will have to get one. If you're a positive blood type, you don't have to worry about it. But your RhoGAM shot has to come within 72 hours of your glucose test and your CBC or whatever, or CBC. Yeah, CBC. It's like a blood draw. They check on like everything again. When you first get pregnant, they do a full panel workup, and then, you know, they kind of do it again at this time whenever you go get your glucose test. So it has to be within that time, whatever. So then I'll go on the 1st and get my RhoGAM shot and have my appointment. And then after that, I will be looking at bi-weekly appointments. So actually the bi-weekly appointments are coming a little later in the summer than I expected them to, and I'm not mad about it. It's great, especially the way the schedule has been for me. It's going to work out way better to start later, because May and June is just, the chaos is like no joke. I said a few videos back, May and June are going to be crazy. Yep, they're crazy. They're crazy to me anyway. So I'm looking good on all my schedule stuff. I had updated that in a video the other day. And so I'm feeling really good whenever I look at this planner and look at this schedule. Like a lot of stuff is going to be coming up and going on, but I'm staying on track, which makes me feel really, really good. So I should be rolling in. There's some discrepancy on where the 3rd trimester is. To me, it depends on what you look at online or how you interpret it. Me and my mom were talking about it too. Do you start your 3rd trimester when you're 27 weeks? Or do you start your 3rd trimester when you come out of that, like at the end of that 27 weeks? So essentially 28 weeks. Either way, I'm coming up on the 3rd trimester. So 3rd trimester is what my goal. I've been angling for getting all my stuff done, getting all my ducks in a row to where hopefully I can kind of take my 3rd trimester, I don't want to say off, but take my 3rd trimester a lot easier and give myself that that break to where I'm not rushing around last minute trying to get everything done, because the energy levels that I do have now, I know are going to deplete. I'm going to get bigger. I'm going to get more tired. It's going to be hard, because then I will be actually taking on the weight of the pregnancy, like the weight of the baby and all these different things. So it's going to be a lot. So that's been my plan the whole time, was to just get as much done early and often as I can. So the next couple weeks is my crunch time to finish up my last minute things. I'm very, very close to having my hospital bag done. This little thing here is a list of things I need to buy from, I'm going to try to like go to Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Ross, like stuff like that. Just little incidental things that, because I have, and I'm going to do a separate video of what's in my hospital bag video. I love those. For some reason, I just love those. And I think a lot of pregnant women do. So I'm excited to be able to do one myself. And I'll get into details about why and whatever later in that video, but I just decided I don't want to do this last minute, throw everything in the bag thing. I want to have it packed ahead of time, and I want everything in the bag. So I'm going to go to those stores and just get some little incidental things like that I need, that will be handy and convenient to have at the hospital, but not necessarily spend full price, have full size items, have, you know, just, I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible, yet at the same time have everything that I need and have it double to where I'm not just throwing my own personal stuff that I use every day in there last minute when I'm in labor. I don't want to deal with that. I really don't. But be looking for what's in my hospital bag video, along with I'm going to do a postpartum care basket within that video. And just share what I've done and what I'm thinking about those things. So I'm excited to be doing that. I'll probably be doing that in the next few weeks, probably within the next month. So that's really the update for my 25 weeks. I'm excited. Let's do a little bump date. Let's do a bump date, shall we? Oh, I don't know what that is. There she is in all her glory. We're getting, I mean, that's a pregnant belly now. That's a real one. I mean, I've had it, but that's a real one. And so, yeah, she's here. And I actually enjoyed dressing myself when I was pregnant with my daughter. I'm not saying I don't enjoy dressing myself now. I do, actually. Dressing a different body type is kind of fun. It's different type of clothing that doesn't necessarily always work on me when I'm not pregnant. And it's cool, but then also there is a struggle with it as well, for sure. There's a bit of a struggle. Like sometimes if I just put on like shorts and a tank top, it feels like we need like a shawl or something, because I just feel like I have a lot going on, and I don't know, it just feels weird. So like there's some things that I'll put on, and it's just like, and my friend was over here like a week or two ago, and I put something on and she was like, hey, that shirt doesn't even make you look pregnant. And I'm like, look, I'm struggling with getting dressed enough. And you could tell she was like, she wanted me to show my belly off, wear something off. So anyway, I don't know, but it's kind of fun. And so I did get some things at a resale shop yesterday. I'll be sharing some of these things as well, like stuff that I bought. And then, I don't know, I've got a couple cool videos I feel like coming up I'm excited about. Anyway, again, if you're here, I'm grateful, and thanks for showing up and watching my videos, and subscribe if you want, or if you've already subscribed, I'm really grateful to have you here. I know I'm not an exciting person. These are just little blah blah videos, like that's all it is, because my vlogs haven't worked out so far. But anyway, it's just my journey, and I like sharing it. And I know that if you're pregnant and, you know, you're kind of in the same realm, something with someone, it's kind of fun to follow along. At least that's what I find. I like to watch people's videos and follow along with kind of where I'm at. So if that's you and you're here, leave a comment below. Let me know how far along you are. And it's fun. I love having you here, and I love sharing that journey. And so like, feel free to comment, because I want to know what's going on with you too. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye.